Hey, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another video. This time I'm going to go over my top 16 Las Vegas ARG 2019 deck profile and tournament report. So you guys are going to see the main deck, side deck of what I played. A lot of people have been asking for my updated Broly lineage list. It's a little bit different than the Broly lineage list, but you guys kind of just got a glimpse of the side deck, so I did kind of side into that lineage package, but we're going to go into that in just a minute. But if you guys are new to the channel, definitely hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you guys can stay up to date with all awesome Dragon Ball Super content we post here. Check out the description down below to join our Discord server. We're talking about everything Dragon Ball Super related there. Get advice on your decks, just anything you guys need about the game. That is a great resource for you guys. And if you guys are longtime fans of the channel, you guys can consider supporting my Patreon in the description below as well. It helps me just bring you guys the content that you guys know and love and that I love to bring you guys. And I've been posting a lot of competitive content there as well, just to help you guys, get up on your game if that's what you guys are looking for. So I got a couple of Patreon shout outs to get to. Thank you so much, Revolutions, Jason, Rendezvous, Will, and Jason again. Thank you guys so much for deciding to support the channel. It really means the world to me. So we're gonna get into this tournament report right now and then this deck profile. A couple shout outs though. Shout out to ARG for throwing an awesome event. Shout out to PPG, our sponsor, for just sponsoring us and being amazing. Shout out to Shenron's Lair for just being the best team on the face of the earth. You guys are awesome. I had such a fun weekend. Going into top 16, I'll talk about this a little bit later. I didn't have the highest expectations, and I'll tell you why when I get to the tournament report. But just hanging out with my team was really just so fun. Like, they're really the best team you can ask to be on. And shouts out to all of you guys that subscribe to the channel and support me and just root for me. It really means the world to me, guys. It really keeps me going. It really just makes me so happy that I do what I do. So thank you guys all so much for that. And one final shout out, I got to be a bounty for the first time at this event. That was so much fun. Like, it was so cool, just like, messing around with people, like just having a good time and joking around with people, like, hey, we're playing for packs, like putting something on the line. It was so fun to be a bounty. So shouts out to everyone like for this weekend. It was an amazing weekend. So we'll get into the deck profile. I played Broly again. Anyone who follows the channel knows me, knows that I'm pretty comfortable as leader. I've been playing it for a few events now. I had to tweak this build, or I guess I had to tweak my previous lineage build to kind of adjust to the format. The lineage deck wasn't as strong as it once was, post the power booster, because now with the power booster, there are a lot of these, turn 4 OTK combo decks that just, they can just win on 4 if you're not prepped for it. So I needed to play something more aggressive. I played this deck because I wanted to take advantage of those turn 4 OTK decks. Because this deck can kill on 3, I wanted to just take advantage of anyone playing those turn 4 strategies like Height, Victory Strike, or like Shenron Gogeta, or anything like that. I also main decked to have a good Janemba matchup, which, like, Janemba has a rough time with aggro, but at the same time, they have so much combo power that anything shy of a Mira, it's really hard to deal damage to them. So I main decked for Janemba, but never actually played a Janemba in Swiss, to my very big surprise. So I mean, it was kind of a non-factor. It was a bad call in hindsight, but I think it was a good meta pick because Janemba now has 3 wins under his belt in a row. So I mean, I'm glad I main decked for Janemba because I feel like it was a good call, but at the same time, I didn't play against any Janemba. And I guess in Vegas, Janemba was not highly represented. Like, if you just walked around the tables, there was not a lot of Janemba in sight. And I think that's because of a few reasons. There is that East Coast, West Coast stereotype where West Coast tends to play more aggressive decks. And there was a whole lot of Broly in the room. There's a lot of Broly in the room. But also a lot of anti-meta, like a lot of Hirudegarn, which we haven't seen in a while, playing like Chain Zeno or Red Blue Hirudegarn, which actually ended up taking the event. A lot of anti-meta stuff, a lot of stuff you wouldn't expect this event, where I think Elena had more of like a typical top cut breakdown, which I will get you guys those top cut breakdowns. I think next week, since there's not an event between now and the celebrations, as far as I know, please don't kill me in the comments. If there is something coming up before the celebrations, let me know. I'll definitely, make sure I get coverage for it. But as far as I know, there's nothing going on between now and the celebrations. So I feel like next week's okay to bring you guys those meta breakdowns because they'll still be relevant. The meta will still be relatively the same with no big events coming up. But I want to get you guys all the deck profiles I got from this week just because, they're relevant now. They're recent. So I want to get you guys those as soon as possible. Enough rambling, we'll get into the deck profile. So 3 Dark Temptation Toa and 3 Mirror Crater Absorb. So I played 6 Overwhelms, which is a lot. It definitely was a lot of Overwhelms. It didn't really clog my hand too much or anything, especially because Toa is a 5k combo. The reason I did this is because I main decked for Janemba, like I said. Against Janemba, I wanted to overwhelm every single turn. I wanted to drop Toa in the early turns to give my leader 5k and make my opponent discard a card because Janemba has a rough time with hand control. I noticed in testing with Janemba, they'd only ever have like 7, 6, 5 cards in hand, and it usually consisted of a lot of combo power. But if I could just TOA them every turn and make them neg, I felt like I could just go in for game a lot easier. But I never played against Janemba, so that was kind of unfortunate. This card pretty much got sided out every game, but I'm glad I main decked it again because I thought it was a good meta call. And then Mirror Creator Absorbed. I did not play this card in my last iteration of Broly because it wasn't as aggressive. And I talked about why I wasn't a huge fan of this card, but in this type of build where you can usually put someone down to 3 pretty easily, or even put someone down to 4 and just win with Mirror double Champa, it's really powerful. And this card honestly won me so many games. And if I didn't have this card in my deck, I would have never beat red decks. And I'll talk about that more in the tournament report later. But card was so important. 3 Further Instruction Champa. Honestly, kind of wish I played 4 of them because there was a lot of games where I was digging for double Champa with Mira to win. So I do wish I played 4, but I really I took a lot of inspiration from the Broly Storm deck that got top 8 in the Euro Open. And he played 4 Mira, 3 Champa. I kind of wish I played 3 Mira, 4 Champa. But this deck is very, very clunky on extra cards and 10k combos. So I wanted to mitigate that as much as physically possible. And unfortunately, that was a little bit of a mistake, I think, because there were times I wanted the 4th Champa. But that also leads me to another point about the deck. This is definitely an aggro deck, but it's a much more fair aggro deck than Storm has ever been before. You're not plussing nearly as hard. Your hand is never going to be like 12, 13, 14 cards really, unless you are able to resolve Videl 5 times in the game, which is pretty hard to do. So this is a much more fair aggro deck. It's very aggressive, very powerful, but it's definitely more fair than Storm used to be. And for that reason, I think they did a decent job with balancing Storm out by banning Goten and that kind of thing. So just want a little note there. 4 Successor, 4 Bardock, super standard. 2 Planet Vegeta. The top cut list from Euro played 3. I only played 2. It was really all you needed in my opinion. It was cool to have the Ape restand, but it wasn't necessary a lot of the times because you're putting on so much pressure. You don't have to play too much defense unless another deck can go fast back at you. And once again, I played this deck to take advantage of all the turn 4 OTK decks. So when I played those decks, it was a great matchup for my deck, but I had other rough matchups that I'll get to later. 2 Bloodlust. Since we're playing an aggro deck, I didn't want to leave up too much defensive energy, at least in game 1. But the side deck, I built to be able to adjust to a longer mid-range game. So 2 in the main deck was fine. It really isn't that great against most of the meta right now. It's really only really good against red decks, again, which I keep bringing up red decks. It's kind of like the bane of my existence this weekend. But not good against the field or what you expect to play against. It's not good against height. It's not good against Shenron Gogeta, and it's not good against Janemba. So only 2 because I feel like I still wanted to have it. Really glad I only played 2 in the main deck though. 2 Adopted Father. You needed it sometimes. Sometimes I played it down for the blocker, and other times I wanted to slow the game down, so I wouldn't necessarily just go all in on Bardock. I would just Gohan swap. So there was that. Frieza Biding His Time had a lot of purposes in this deck. One was to answer strivings, which I didn't really see a whole lot in game 1s. There was one matchup where a Shenron player dropped it game 1, and it was there to answer it, which is really cool. But there's also to answer the 2-drop barrier Gohan against the height matchups. So that was cool. Just wanted to interrupt their chain if I couldn't kill them fast enough, but that usually wasn't too much of a problem. 3 Roshi. Just wanted to negate with combo power. Again, we're not looking to go into the late game. If we go into turns 4 or 5, we've done something wrong with this deck. So I just wanted to negate that at combo power just for more damage pushes. And also it was nice, if I had 1 energy floating on my opponent's turn and he wanted to kill one of my battle cards, I could just Roshi to save it, and then it's still combo power. 2 Battering. Another card I wish I played 3 of. In certain instances it was really important. I didn't see it, but again, I really didn't want to clog on extra cards. Maybe I could have bumped Cold Bullets from the main deck, but I didn't want to do that because there were some matchups where Cold Bullets was pretty clutch in game 1. So 2 Battering, it was what it was. It was good. I kind of wish I saw it more sometimes, but ended up not being too impactful. 4 Dependable, needed it. 3 Pure Hearted, and 1 Shugesh. That type of split. So my logic on this is pretty weird, and shout out to Larry for helping me put this logic together. So originally I was going to play no Shugesh. I was like, I don't want to get bogged down by Kronoa. I just want to aggro people and kill them, not rely on Shugesh. But we came to the conclusion of playing 1 Shugesh, and actually a few other people. There was one Cali team, I think they're called Cali Elite. They came to the conclusion as well because their decks played 1 Shugesh too. It was if you don't see Shugesh game 1 as the opponent, and you see 2 or 3 Pure Hearted Son Gokus, maybe you don't side in Kronoa. I feel like it's pretty likely you probably won't side in Kronoa. And that means in game 2, Shugesh can steal you a win. You can Shugesh SS2 pop something going for game and just win that way. The reverse of that is if they do see Shugesh in game 1, they might side in Kronoa. It might throw off their curve, and it might not fit into the curve very nicely. And then they're siding in 3 or 4 cards, maybe 2 cards, to shut off 1 card of my deck. So not a huge neg there. So I think the logic on that was pretty solid. I had the 2 Planet Vegeta to search when I needed it. If I didn't have Planet Vegeta, I probably wouldn't have played it at all because it wouldn't have been worth it. But I was pretty happy with it. It worked out pretty well. There were some game 1s and even game 2s and 3s where I got to resolve an offensive Shugesh, so that was pretty cool. 1 striving to be the best Vegeta. 1 was really all I needed. I didn't even want to play it at all, really, because I felt like there weren't a lot of decks playing barrier cards too much. At least I were going to put them in rest mode. Like, the only one I could really think of was Gogeta 7, but I didn't get Gogeta 7 all weekend, which is really cool. There was a couple instances where I wanted a baby player to use strategy of U7 so I could Vegeta their baby. That didn't come up either, though, because I just didn't play the strategies. I wanted to have it somewhere in the main side, and I decided to play the 1-of, just because it's searchable playing Vegeta, and it could answer things, so just the 1-of. Ultimate Potential SS2 Gohan. A 1-of, searchable, basically Explosive Spirits on Goku. I'm not playing the thick lineage line like I used to, in the main deck at least, but at least this was a searchable successor target for Shugesh, and I could actually swap into it if I needed to clear problem cards, and that was actually pretty relevant against red matchups. 2 Power Charge Bardock, another good swap 3. It lets you go over the top of like striving to be the best on Goku, so you can still put on pressure, and it's a good offensive Shugesh target, so I wanted to include 2 in the deck. 4 Bardock Will of Iron. This is a lot for this card, but again, I wanted to open it because the typical turn 2 combo. So the typical curve of the deck was turn 1 Bardock into Dependable or Videl, depending on the matchup. Turn 2 Bardock into another swap 2, so either another Dependable or another Videl. And then play Bardock again, and then you want to swing, Awaken, evolve the Will of Iron over it. So you really want to drop Will of Iron turn 2 to really put the pressure on, and then, you know, if you can in the same turn mirror Champa, you probably won't be able to though. So turn 3 mirror Champa after putting someone to 3. So that was like kind of the strategy of the deck, and it worked out really well. Definitely need to play 4 Will of Iron, but I would have liked to. I don't even know where I could have cut cards honestly, but I would have liked to maybe trim down on the 10k combos. But realistically, that probably wasn't realistic. So we'll go into the side deck now. 3 Cronoa. A lot of top cut lists from Europe did not even play Shugesh. I think about the second place Broly list and the top 8 Broly Storm list. I did not play Shugesh, but I wanted to respect it because I didn't want to get blown out by it. And it did come up in my one. I believe I only played 1 Broly in Swiss, but I'll get to that in a minute. So it did come up. It was relevant. Glad I played the Cronoas in the sideboard. 2-dimensional Banisher Fu. This is for red again, mostly for the Great 8 Baby combo. Just wanted to have a one energy out to it. So that was really good. 2 Bloodlust. This is also for red matchups. This came in because red is the only thing that this card's really good against, like for seeing hit, like Chain Attack Trunks, things like that. So wanted the extra 2 in the sideboard. 2 Nimbus, 2 Time Magic. These were okay. They came in the matchups that were relevant. Flying Nimbus never really came in. I put it in once against a red deck, and it was okay, but it didn't really matter because the matchup was just so rough. The Time Magics came in against Broly Height and Shenron. Luckily, it never got to that point where I needed to resolve this card, but they were there for those reasons. 1 Frieza Biding His Time. This was against Height to rest that 2-drop Gohan. And it was also for striving decks, just in case I needed to answer them really badly. Because if they're on the play and they drop striving, it can slow me down a little bit. So I wanted to have the Frieza. The typical thing I would do with the Frieza is rest the striving and set up the Bardock Will of Iron play. So I would play down my 1-drop Bardock, attack leader into the striving, awaken, combo the Will of Iron, 25k out of 10k battle card. They really can't save it unless they have 2 super combos. And again, 2 super combos to waste on that guy is probably not worth it most of the time. 1 more SS2 Gohan. So that was when I wanted to side in the Discover Dynasty Son Gohan, or when I felt like I needed extra pops, even if I didn't side in the extra Gohans. But this is more for red as well. Red, it takes you to an extended game because red is really turtley, this format. Red is really turtley. I did play a mono blue Hurrigan as well. These came in for that too. But yeah, when I needed to play an extended game, these cards came in, and they were really good. I was really happy with them. Discover Dynasty Son Gohan really allowed me to build up a hand size, which the typical Storm main deck doesn't allow you to do. So really happy I main deck these cards, and I love these cards too because like I love that OG lineage deck that I used to play like last format. So it was really cool. Now we'll get into the tournament report. So let's see what I got here. Round 1 and 2 were both Shenron Gogeta. Round 2 was on stream actually, by the way. You can check that out on ARG Circuit Series Dragon Ball Facebook. So round 1 and round 2 were Shenron Gogeta. Great matchups, and I was so happy to play against those decks. I mean, that was the reason I played this deck, was just so that I could have a good time against Shenron Gogeta and Shenron in general, because they can't answer the board you put out until turn 3 with a Purunga. And luckily, I never got Purunga dropped on me, which is also just amazing. Round 3, Mono Blue Hurrigan. This one came down to the wire, and this guy ended up getting 4th place, I believe. So shout outs to you, Tim. You did really well. Or maybe 2nd, actually. I'm sorry for messing that up, but you did really well, and you were an awesome opponent to play against. So you played Mono Blue Hurrigan. Game 1, I had double Videl, which was so important. That card was literally the most important card in that matchup because early Vidells he can't clear. His leader, he's not going to swing them, so he's not going to swing into them with his leader, because then he doesn't plus. Then he doesn't get Rudigarn's effect. So that was really important. Setting up Vidells, they lived like 3 turns, and they just drew me 6 cards. There was no way I was losing that matchup. Unfortunately, round 2 and 3 though of that match, I couldn't draw any Vidells, so I just couldn't keep up hand parity. He started putting on pressure with Dimension Support Trunks into the Vanillas for aggro. So game 2 and 3 were really downhill because I couldn't draw any Vidells, so that was unfortunate. Round 4, played against Logan from the channel. Hopefully you guys remember him. He does some deck profiles once in a while, does some content for me. Well, a really good friend of mine, and it was awesome that I was able to go to Vegas because those guys were there, my old Chico local friends, and it was so awesome to see those guys. Shout out to all of you guys from Chico. And yeah, I played against him. He played Baby Vegeta. Again, red is a really tough matchup for this deck, especially like, you know, Baby and Pan both have their strengths against this deck. In the Baby matchup specifically, you got to play around After Image, blowing up your Bardox, and you got to play around Revenge Death Ball. And the best win con in those matchups are Mira Champa. So against Logan, I was able to resolve Mira Champa games 1 and 3. Game 2, I couldn't, so he beat me. But yeah, I won that matchup by the skin of my teeth. So definitely thank you, Mira Champa, for that. Round 5, I 2-0'd Broly Height. They don't like getting aggroed. Broly decks do not like getting aggroed. Even this type of Broly deck does not like getting aggroed. The mirror match is tough in this deck, but for Broly Height specifically, they don't like getting aggroed. And I won the dice roll too, so that was really helpful because being on play, their win con is way too slow against this deck. So that was really awesome. Round 6, I lost to Pan, and that is an even tougher matchup in my opinion than Baby Vegeta. Because Baby Vegeta, they are turtly, they have Revenge Death Balls, but they don't have like the sheer combo power that Pan has, and they don't have the double shot Vegetas. The double shot Vegetas are actually really important. So because they're more turtly, and because Vegeta Baby is less turtly, I could put Vegeta Baby to 3 more often, and Mira Champa was more clutch there. The Pan player that I played against knew very well not to go to 3 because Mira Champa would probably just kill him even through an After Image. So he was able to stay at 4 the whole time, and I couldn't put enough combo up to put him down to 3. So I ended up losing that match. At that point, I was X2, had to win out to top. So round 7, I beat my teammate Caleb. He was also playing Baby Vegeta. So even though red is such a bad matchup for this deck, I feel like I played pretty well. And besides that, Mira Champa is just so OP. So that was really helpful in the matchup. It was bittersweet because it was my teammate, and I knocked him out of top cut. I'm sorry for that, Caleb, but I mean, we were both like relatively happy about it because the worst thing that would have happened was getting a draw. If we both would have drawn, neither of us would have made top cut. So it was good that it ended up in a win, and luckily it was for me. Shout out to you, Caleb. Round 8, I won against Shenron Gogeta. I got to my last round. I got to the table at my last round, and I saw it was Michael Kano. Shout out to him because he was a cool opponent. I saw him put down his Shenron leader, and I was just so happy because it was a favorite matchup for me, and it was almost going to guarantee I topped. So shout out to him. We had a really good match. Yeah, that was really cool. Top 16 the next day. I get there at 8 a.m. I already know what I'm playing against. I'm playing against the same Pan player that beat me in Swiss. So I knew I was in for a rough time. I talked to my teammates. My teammate Tim, who is like the king of Pan. He's just been playing Pan forever. I talked to him about the matchup, talked to my other teammates about the matchup. I came up with a game plan. It was to play more conservatively on my life, to not awaken as fast, so that when he chains in on me, I'd be able to recoup cards. And that was a game plan. It worked out okay game 1. The issue in game 1 though was that I drew into double Mira. I opened double Mira in my opening hand, so that was just terrible. I had to play defense in my life, and one of the Miras I had to combo away to save damage, and that allowed me to not, you know, draw into Mira for the late game push, which is pretty unfortunate. Game 2, pretty much the same thing, although I didn't have the correct combo power to just play defense in my life, so I ended up going down to 4 much earlier than I wanted to. And again, I drew Mira way too early. I drew double Mira way too early, so I had to combo them away for combo power. I actually sided in. I sided in like 12 cards to my side deck, so I sided in Cronoas. I wanted Cronoas, and I took out Bardock with Generators for these because I didn't want to self-awaken so fast. And I put in the Cronoas just to draw cards and have combo power to defend my life. 2-dimensional Vanisher I put in just to clear the Yamchas and double shot Vegetas. I put in the Nimbuses because he goes really wide. I put in the Bloodlust because, you know, it's a red deck and it's really good against red decks. And then I put in this Gohan package here as well. And it all performed well, but that matchup was just so miserable that I didn't have super high expectations going into top cut because I knew that'd be such a hard matchup. But regardless, I knew that top 16 was not going to go well, but I was so happy. The weekend was amazing. I'm so happy I went out to Vegas, saw my teammates, saw my friends. It was an amazing weekend, guys. So shout out to all you out there, subscribing to the channel, my teammates, all you guys out there for making this an amazing weekend. If you have any questions about the deck, definitely drop them in the comments below. I will get back to you. That being said, that's going to bring this video to an end. Stick around for all the awesome Dragon Ball Super content from this past weekend that I'm going to upload this week, and I'll see you next time. You actually sat through all of that and made it to the end? I don't know how you did it, but now that you're here, you might as well hit the subscribe button that's right above me, or maybe check out some of these other videos. I don't know, and I guess we'll see you in the next one. I really don't know how you did it, but good on you.